Hello guys, welcome to my channel and thanks for watching the video. This is the 7th video of the CSS Simply from A to Z tutorial. In the last video, we have learned how we can add a navigation bar to our website, and we have learned that it is possible to have a navigation bar either horizontal like this or vertical. So if you don't know how it is, you can go back to the video and watch it one more time. In this video, we want to add a form to our website so that we can get information from the person who liked our website, for example. So let's go. And of course, any likes or comments or subscribe from your side will be truly appreciated. Okay, for adding a form, we have a tag, and this tag is exactly form. I just open the tag and close the tag and press enter, and whatever we type here between these two form tags will be displayed in the browser. Suppose that you want to get the information from this form in your mail. So for that we have to add something to our form, and it is action. We have an action. After that we say mail to, because we want to get the information from mail to, and after that you use the email address that you want to get the information. In this case, at yahoo.com, that is my mail, and of course you have to give your email. And after that we define a method for it. You can either select get or post, but post is more secure. Good. Suppose that we want to have the first name in our form. For adding the titles, you can use either a p tag like this here, or label, but in this video I would like to use label for adding any title to the form. So label form, and for I will tell you what it is, and the first one will be, for example, first name. So for is always with label, is a property of label. You have to use it with label. Of course you can use label without form, but it is the standard form of label. It must be with a form. And what you type for form is not too important. For example, here I type F name, for example, for the first name. And after that we type a break. We break the line, because in the browser we want to go to the next line, and here we insert a place for the information that the person wants to give. For that we use input we had in the last video also, but this time input must have another type. In this case, type must be text, because the first name is text, and we select type text for input. The standard form of input is that you use ID and name properties for input also. ID will be f name again, and name f name. Good. And we go to the new line in the browser. Okay, one more time. So first name is the title, so it is better if I set colon here also, is the title, and here is the box that the person will give the information. And in this case we use input. Type must be text, because as I said, first name is text, and ID and name, we use ID and name with input. This is a standard form of input. As I said, of course, you can use input without ID and name also, but so it is better. And you have to notice that this ID is different from the ID and class in CSS, but you can use it also as ID for calling the tag to set CSS effects. So I just save it and we go back to the browser, we refresh, and you see that we have the first name here, and it is the label, and after that we have a box for the information, and this is the type. This is the input tag with the type text. Okay, we need that for the last name also, and I just make a copy paste of that because they are the same, but this time first name we change it as last name, and for this time L name, for example, last name, type of input must be text again, and here ID last name and name also last name. I save it again, we go back, we refresh the browser, and you see that now we have the first name and the last name. Okay, the next thing that we may want to add to our form is maybe age. Age is also a title, so I just make a copy paste of label, copy, and here paste, and this time it will be age, or for example your age is also okay. It is just design, you can type whatever you want, and the name for the label will be age small. So we need another input tag, but this time type must be date, because we want to add a date to this in this box. So type will be date, again ID with a birthday, and name birthday again, and we close the input tag. So what the difference here is, I save everything, we go back to the browser, refresh. This time you see that by default we have a date, we have a calendar, and if I click on it, the calendar will be open and we can select any date that we want. So the type for the birthday or for any date must be date for the input. The next thing is maybe we want to use a drop down, for example for country. For here I just again I add a break because I want to go to the new line, and I make a copy again of the label, but this time it must be country. For example, we want to know in which country the person lives, and here will be simply maybe country, or whatever you want you can add here as a label. And here is break, we go to the new line, but this time we use another tag, and this tag is select. We want to add a drop down tag to our form, and for the drop down tag you use select, and select can also have an ID, and we say country, for example, and between select we should add the options, the name of the different countries that we want to have in our drop down tag, and for that we use option tag. There is a tag, this tag is option, and we use it. For the first one we just set three dots. For example, no country is selected, and option must have a value. This value you can see in the drop down. Sorry. So it will be the first one. The next one, we say again value, this time for example USA, and between the tags also USA. So I make just copy paste because they are the same. I paste it here. This time it will be Germany, for example, and here also Germany. Whatever you use as the value for the option, you have to use it between the option tags also. And this time it will be India, for example, and India also. I just add one more option so that our drop down will be better. This time Iran, for example, and here Iran also. And select is at the end of the options, is the tag, is the select tag also closed. So you use select, and between select with the use of option, you can show the countries that you want. I save it, go back to the browser, we refresh the browser. You see that right now we have a drop down here, and if I click on it, we have the countries that we have added, and you can use any country, you can select any country that you want, for example. The next thing that we want to add to our form is maybe an email address. For example, we want to have the email address of the person also. So for the title here, after select, I just add a break. Again, we go to the new line, and I just make a paste of label because they are the same. This time it will be mail, for example, and here it will be your mail. For the country, maybe we type also your country. It will be better. And good. Now for email, I go to the new line. Again, we use input, but this time type must be simply email. Type email because we want to use it as email. ID will be mail, and name also will be mail. As I said, you can set whatever you want for this ID and for this mail. It is not too important, but you have to use it for a standard form of input. Okay, I save everything. We go back to the browser, I refresh, and you see that we have a box for email, but this box is different from the others. Right now, I cannot show you the difference, but at the end of the form, we will check what the difference is. The other thing, maybe you want that the person want to browse and to upload some files to the form and send some files with the form also. Make a copy paste again for the title. I paste it at the end of email. Make break again, but this time title will be file, for example, and here we say, for example, upload your file or whatever you want. It is up to you, your file, for example, and we go to the new line, and for the file we again use input type. This time the type of the input must be file, And for the file also, we use ID. ID can be, for example, my file, and name my file also. And I close it. We save everything. We go back to the browser. You see that, upload your file. And if I click on browse, the browse box of my PC will be open, and you can select any file that you have, and it is the name of the file. Good. Now maybe you want that the person adds some comments also in the form and send you some comments with the mail. It will be also nice if you add it to the form. So I just make a copy again here and paste it, and this time it will be labeled comment, for example, and here we say your comment. It is up to you what you type here, what you write here. Here I just add a break the line here also. And for comment we have another tag, and this tag is text area. So if you want to have a small area that you can add some text to it, you can use text area in the forms. So text area must have a name, will be comment again, and after that you have to define how many rows and columns this text area can have. For that you use rows, and we say, for example, this text area can have 10 rows, and after that you just type here a number. And for columns also calls, and for columns we say also, for example, 20 columns. And we close the tag, and between the tag we can type, for example, you can type your comment here, for example. It is not so important. You can also omit this text here, but I will show you what is the difference. So I save everything, go back, refresh the browser, and you see now we have a place in our form for the comment also. And this is, you can type your comment here, and this is this text that we added here. And now you can just type whatever you want as a comment, and after that you can send it with your file. And I think sorry, I think it may be enough. First name, last name, age, country, mail, file, comment, and it is the time to submit our form. And you see that we are still in the form. For submitting the form, we use input, and this time type must be simply submit. Or it is better if we use reset for resetting the form, and value reset the form. So what it makes is this type reset. It adds a button to our forms, and on this button we see this phrase here, reset the form, and if we click it, the form will be reset. File, save all, refresh, and now here you see that we have the reset form. The other thing is, the last one is submitting everything. We have add everything here, and now we just want to submit this information. Type again, and this time it will be submit. And you can also set, if you don't set any value for submit or for reset, on this bottom it will be reset and it will be submit the query by default. But if you want to set something else, you can use it with the use of value. So value will be submit the form, for example, and it is closed. And if I save it, we go back to the browser. Now we have submit the form also. Now, guys, we are done with the form in our web page. Now we want to design it a little bit with CSS. As you see, it is just HTML right now, and we didn't have add any CSS effects to the form, and HTML is not so nice. So let's go back and do the design for our form. And here the form will be closed. Okay, for designing the form, first of all, it is better if we, as I say, if we set an ID for our form, and this time will be my form, for example, or whatever you want. And we go back to the CSS, and here is CSS. Here we call the form with the use of its ID. It was my form. Width, I set a width for the form. We say, for example, 40% of the web page it is, and maybe background color for that, light green. It is just design. It's up to you what you select here for the width of the form or which background color you want. We just want to learn it. And okay, now we save it and we check what happens, and after that we came back again. Now you see that our form is 40% wide and has a background color of light green, but I think it will be better if we use RGB. So okay, now it is better. Good. Now you see that here we don't have any space between the form and this tag here. So now we set a display, or we set a space here with the use of margin top must not be, but for example 20 pixel. I save it, go back, we refresh the page, and you see that it comes down, and because of some problem with the caching in the browser, I see this black window also here. Sorry. Okay, 30 pixel, save all, and form comes 30 pixels to the downside. Now everything is here on the left side. I think it is better if we set up padding for the form also. We say padding everywhere 30 pixel or maybe 50 pixel, for example, and we check the result of that, save all. Now you see that these things are 50 pixel away from the left side, from the top side, and of course from here, but they are just small. Now here you see that they are near each other. Here we also need some places between these things here. Okay, we go back, and here we had most of the things or input most of the things are input here, so it is okay if we set a margin for the input. For example, we say dollar my form, we call the form, and after that we say input, and we can also type, for example, text. If we type something like this, only the inputs that have this type will be affected, but I think we don't need it right now. And here, sorry, input, we want it for all of the input tags here, and this one margin, for example, margin top, again we say 8 pixel, and we check what happens in the browser. Good. My form input, if it is saved, it is saved. And what is the problem? If I save it, good. Okay, we don't need it, so just we type input, and after that we set margins from top. You see that input and the top tag now has 8 pixel space. Good. The next one is that it will be better if we change the size of these text boxes. So we go back and we say input, after that width, for example 80% of the form, save it, we go back to the browser, you see that now they are 80% and they are a little bit bigger. The other thing that we can do is that here, for example, for the first name and the last name, it will be also okay if we do it as a type text. First name, if we set a placeholder, for example, placeholder your first name and 3 dots, and for the last name also, I think it will be better, but as I said, it is just design. You can do whatever you want here. And if I save it, you will see that your first name and your last name. Now here it is better if we have another height here. It will be clearer, so I'll go to the CSS input. Here we say that, for example, padding we can use. With the use of padding we can do it also. Padding from top and from down will be, for example, 12 pixel or 8 pixel, and from the left side and the right it will be 10 pixel, and we check what happens right now. Now you see that it looks a little bit better. Good. The other thing is, maybe it will be better if we set a border for these input boxes. We say border, for example, 2 pixel, and offset, and we say gray, but I will change the RGB of that, so it will be this RGB. Save all, go back, refresh. You see that they have now a border, and the border is offset. Good. Now we can use also border radius, it will be also nice, as much as 4 pixels, for example. We save everything, we go back, and now 4 pixel or 6 pixels, so that we can see the effect a little bit better. So you see that now there is border radius also. The other thing that we can do is, for example, suppose that if someone click here in the box, we want that this box gets another color as the background and another color for the color of the text. We go back, and here we say again input, but this time column, and focus. Under focus, we select a background. This time we say black, for example. Background will be black, and color, and color will be white. And we check what happens right now. If I click on it, you see that the background will be black, and if I type something, the color is white. So focus, with the use of focus, you can do it. Focus means that if the tag is selected and the pointer is in this tag. There is a problem, and this problem, it's because of the browser, not because of CSS. And you see that when we select something, when we select a box, by default, there will be a blue border around the box, but we can also delete that. And this one with the use of outline, and outline must be none. Save it, we go back to the browser, and if I select it this time, we don't see the blue border around the tags here. Good. Now you may also want to have it is better if we change the width of this select also. Yeah, it is better. So input and select. If so, it will be okay. If not, we use another method. And this time, yeah, you see that now select has also this width and file also. Good. Now we want to, for example, okay, now we check what reset makes for us. Here we type something, here we type something, here we select a date, here we select a country, for example, and here a file is selected, we tap here, and if I click on reset the form, you see that everything will be again, will get again the default settings. And so you can reset the form and not manually do something. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is about mail. For example, if we type something here, okay, now we go, first we go back to our HTML, and here we had the email, and here we said this email is required, for example. You can set required for any other things here. For the first name, for example, also required. For example, for two of them, we save everything here, we go back, refresh, and if I submit, if I click on the submit, you see that the first name, it says we must have a first name. And if I click on the submit again, it says that email must have, please enter an email address. Must be an email address. And if you just want to type something here and submit, it is not possible. And if we go there, please enter an email, because it must be like an email. for example, and not just some type, some characters here. And I think it is better if we change the color of these two buttons here also. For that, we go back to the CSS, and here we say input brackets type is equals, the first one was, the first one of them is reset. We want that the input that has this type only gets these effects. And input, again brackets, type, this time will be submit, because we want to add the effects for both of them. So input, type reset, input, only input that has a type of reset, and only input that has a type of submit. We say background color, for example, here will be light blue, maybe light blue. It is up to you. And the cursor, we check it first. We add cursor also. Okay, cursor will be pointer. Okay, it is saved, and you see that the background color is light blue. And if I go with a pointer over these two buttons, the mouse pointer will be a hand, will be a pointer here also. Okay guys, now we are fast done with our form, and like this we can have a nice form in our web page. And if I now click on reset the form, you see that everything will get again the default value. And this time I will give just some information here, for example, and we want to check the submit button also. Here file, and here our comment, for example. And if I click on the submit button, you see that the mail will be open, and it says and also that the mail will be sent from this email, and that is the email that we have given here. And these are the information that will be sent: first name, last name, date, and things like this. Now everything works fine. And the last thing that I want to show you is that in the last video sorry, in the last video we had the links, and right now in this video we want to use a redirect in our web page. Suppose that a user want to find this form and want to give some information. It is better if the user can simply find it by clicking on contact and not just searching through your website to find the form. For that, we go back to the HTML. Here we have the text. I just make some copy paste of that. We just need it. So that our web page will be bigger and we can see the automatic scrolling. Okay, I save it, go back to the browser, refresh, and now we have the text here. And this time we go back again to the HTML document, and here we have set this ID. The ID is my form for the form. And this ID, we give it as the href for the contact. So here we have the contact, and here is the href. And instead of that, we just say my form. So my form is exactly the ID of our form here. I save it, go back to the browser, we refresh. And this time, if I click on contact, you see that it will be automatically redirected to the form, and so the user does not need to look through your web page. Just with a one click, the user can get the form. Okay guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope that you like it. In the next videos we talk about another topics in CSS. As I said, CSS is interesting, and the next videos will be a little bit advanced, and we talked about some things like for example positions, like animations. We make maybe a gallery for us and things like that. Thanks for watching.